Throw it down, big man.
Welcome everybody back to the Throw It Down Big Fella podcast. I am here with the man, the myth, the legend. He was here last week, did an amazing job. I had to bring him back again, back by popular demand, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Michael Miles. Michael, how you doing?
Doing good, doing good. Glad to be back. Thanks again for the invitation.
Oh, no problem. So we had such a great conversation last week, and we didn't even get to like one of the main parts I wanted to get to was the marriage talk and advice for young married couple, well, not even married couple, just people in relationships, how to deal with conflict resolution. I think that's a very key component to any marriage.
Yeah.
Like, how do you deal with conflict resolution? What's a solution to combat, arguments and explosive arguments, and how do you resolve that? So, what do you think? What do you think is the some solutions that you would come up with?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's definitely a discussion and something that I think we all need to talk about and be open about talking about because we face conflict and there's conflict every day in marriage. In fact, if you think you're not experiencing any conflict at all, if you think your conflict is not being experienced by somebody else, you're wrong. Everybody is experiencing some form of conflict or whatever conflict that our any of our listeners are dealing with. Someone else is dealing with the same thing, and help is available. We can learn a lot from each other. I think the first thing um, is communication. Obviously, I think just being honest with each other, understanding each other's role within the conflict, and holding each other accountable in the spirit of love. And I think that's the key thing in the spirit of love. We have to, watch our tone, watch our nonverbals, our facial expressions, and um, we have to be just be careful with our words, have grace with our words, listen to um, understand and
Mhm.
not just to, react. It takes courage to address conflict and change our actions and decisions to resolve conflict. We have to put pride aside and just know when to admit when we are wrong and admit that we are wrong. Put our ego aside. Um, I believe that it comes with understanding that the devil is trying to destroy your marriage. If you're married, you're in a strong spiritual relationship. That the devil is your enemy. The devil is trying to destroy your marriage. And I think once you realize and understand that, um, you can show grace to each other.
Mhm.
Understanding what the devil is trying to do. He's trying to break what God has called good, and he's trying to break that up. I think a simple way to look at how to fix relationships or how to fix conflict or resolve conflict um, within a marriage is one, we need to listen. We need to listen not just with our ears, but also with our eyes. Nothing is more disrespectful or even demeaning to be talking to somebody and they're not even looking at you eye to eye or giving you the attention. They're there, but they're listening, but they may not be engaged with you or being an active listener. So listening is important. Empathize. You need to empathize with the person that you're in conflict with. Kind of see where they're coming from and not just sympathize. Empathize is to put yourself in their position to how they feel, to know how they feel, to understand how they feel, and sympathize is to say, I feel sorry for you, or don't, you know, put yourself in their position. Then it's to acknowledge and apologize. Acknowledge and apologize. And then um, you, after listening, empathizing, and then acknowledging and apologizing within the conflict, you need to do something.
Yeah.
Uh, you got to do something. Nothing's going to change if you don't do anything. So
Hmm.
uh, that comes with, I would say, three things. I would call it the three C's: compromise, collaborate, and cooperate.
Yeah.
So compromise, that's two people making up their minds, deciding what they're willing to sacrifice.
Hmm.
Um, because you're going to have to sacrifice something in order to resolve something or to achieve a goal. Then collaborate. You have to work together. You have to work together. There's no I. There's no okay. You do this over here, and I'm gonna go and do this over there. You know, you have to work together. You have to collaborate. It's a
Yeah.
partnership, um, more than anything, and then you have to cooperate. So, even if you don't feel like doing something that your wife or your spouse suggests, even if you don't feel like doing it, you cooperate. It goes back to compromising. Um, even if you don't feel like doing it, it's really about your attitude and what's the ultimate goal. What are we trying to achieve? Um, marriage and relationships. Marriage is a ministry.
Yeah.
You're doing a benevolent act outside of yourself. And so you have to, I say the three C's: compromise, collaborate, and cooperate.
Very good. It's very good. Why do you think it's so difficult for men to admit when they're wrong? And is it a pride thing? Is it an ego thing? And like, how do we? I mean, it just feels like for a man, they just have to swallow They just have to admit, look, to their significant other, I'm wrong. Can you just? I mean, like, why is it so difficult for men to accept that when we're wrong?
I think, I mean, it is an ego thing, um, but I think it's difficult sometimes even for women to admit they're wrong too.
Hmm.
Because sometimes the man can be completely right, and the woman could be wrong. Your wife could be wrong. But the important thing is, either way, you have to acknowledge and apologize if you are wrong. And that just goes with listening and empathizing. Um, there are things that my wife may suggest or say that she's right about, and in my mind, I might say, no, no way, I'm completely right about this. Or if something goes wrong, I will take the fall for it, or I'll say, within myself and verbally that, I was wrong,
Yeah.
even though I may feel within myself that I did everything I could possibly do.
Right.
But, it's about sacrifice. I think of the scripture in the Bible that talks about um, when Christ gave himself for the church, right? He died for it.
Hmm.
And as men, as husbands and leaders, in a sense, we kind of die every day for the betterment, or the sacrifices that we make, for the betterment of our families, even when things don't go our way or when we are right. Um, but it's just understanding what the ultimate goal is, uh, for the sake of peace.
Yeah. For the sake of peace, that's the key thing, Mike. For the sake of peace, all men, we just have to accept, like, even when we know even when they're right, even when they're wrong, they're right. And when we're
Yeah.
right, we're wrong. And I think like
Yeah.
a lot of men, like as simple as a concept as it may be, they just don't get it. They don't understand. Like we have to win every single argument
We
or
don't.
talk. We just
Yeah.
we don't.
And we don't as men have to win every single argument. And this isn't to bash women or our wives or our spouses or anything,
Right.
because most of the time they are right.
Mm-hmm.
And we just simply as men need to say, I was wrong, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But
Yeah.
it can go both ways too. And that's what that's the beauty of marriage and relationships is that, you're constantly growing together. And when you do everything in the spirit of love and you hold each other accountable in the spirit of love, if I know that you're telling me that I'm wrong in a certain area, or we're trying to resolve a conflict together and we're trying to do it together in the spirit of love, then my attitude should reflect gratitude and thanksgiving to my spouse.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. I mean, Mike, you're dead on right when you say that. Another thing, counseling. Let's just say like
Mm,
the problems have festered so much, and
mm,
either the man or the woman says, you know what, let's go to counseling. Let's talk
mm.
things out. Does counseling help or hurt marriages or relationships? Do you, Mike?
It can help. It can help. I think of counseling as accepting counseling is uh, continuous. It's a commitment to continuous improvement, is what I would say.
Mhm.
Counseling is a commitment to continuous improvement. It takes humility to accept counseling because you're basically saying that I need help. And that's something that we as men need to improve on. We need to admit when we need help.
Mhm.
We do.
That's a fact.
Um, if we don't know something, it's great to do research and do different things like that, but we need help. You're suggesting counseling because you just believe you're right, and
Mhm.
I'm not going to win this argument, or I'm not going to win in this situation. So, you're suggesting counseling.
Yeah.
Well, we shouldn't look at it that way, but most of the time we do. And it really just comes down to listening to understand each other's feelings.
Mhm.
Uh, but you want to find an independent, unbiased mediator that gives good advice,
Mhm.
good spiritual advice, preferably.
Yeah.
Um, and so I do believe that counseling is good. I don't believe counseling could hurt unless you go to the wrong people,
Mhm.
unless you go to someone that's outside of that professional sphere of spiritual counseling or just unprofessional counseling in general.
Somebody that agrees with you all the time and never agrees with your thoughts.
Yeah,
Somebody
yeah,
somebody that's really neutral. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So that, if you're married, you don't want to go to a single person
Hmm.
and ask for marriage advice from a single person.
Or
I
divorcee.
don't.
Or divorcee.
Depends.
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 Okay.
Depends. I think listening. Listening is to all sides is good.
Right.
I think the question with counseling is why there's wise and there's unwise counsel.
Hmm.
So you don't want to allow the culture to be the primary influence in a marriage. I believe the culture today can be very toxic, can be very unhealthy,
Yes.
and I will consider that to be unwise counsel.
Yes.
We shouldn't be looking at YouTube videos or Facebook reels for, advice.
Instagram.
Uh,
Real.
yeah, we shouldn't, because that's their living situation. That's completely separate from, your situation or my
Mm.
situation.
Yeah.
So you want somebody that's independent, unbiased mediator that gives good advice.
Mhm.
So many marriages go in unprepared because of lack of counseling, because of what they hear or see other people do instead of just going to a counselor to talk about everything. And one thing you achieve in counseling is um, you you talk about everything. You need to talk about everything. And
Mhm.
again, it's continuous improvement. We're not talking about just one session.
Oh yeah.
Talking about a couple of sessions.
Yeah. Yeah. 3, 4, 5
Because within your marriage, that individual, your husband or your wife, they're going to change.
after the
From
honeymoon. After the honeymoon phase.
Yeah,
After the honeymoon.
they're going to, people are going to change within the marriage. So
Yeah.
uh, counseling is important.
He's up to another one. Like, how do you keep the romance, intimate? Um, let's just say without sex. Like, how do you like? What are some ways to keep the intimacy of a romance just the flame still lit per se?
Yeah, intimacy is important. Intimacy is important. Um, I think it's my wife Michelle's favorite word is intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, just the connectivity um, of it all. Because, like I said, marriage is work, and it's a ministry. So things that we as men can do to just to make our relationship better without it being always in the bedroom is we can pray and read, uh, study the Bible together, pray
Mm-hmm.
together, study the Bible together, have fun, be adventurous,
Yeah.
you know, go on trips, plan things out, plan things together, plan surprise trips. Some things that we as men can do. Um,
Now, can I speak for the broke brothers out there that the
okay,
finances ain't
yeah.
really like out there? Like, what are some things that does not involve money that you can do intimate like that? Like you,
Oh man, flowers,
okay,
notes, cards. Uh,
yeah, that's
yeah,
cheap. You're
you
true. They're
know,
not cheap, but like,
nonverbal. I
right, right.
mean, nonverbal communication, things that let your spouse know that you're thinking about them. I
Mm-hmm.
think that is intimacy, right there. Just showing that you care, showing that you care. But little things like that, it could be a walk in the park. Could be
Mm-hmm.
just going downtown, walking, or walking down Bill Street, or
In,
going to the river. Just you know,
in the
doing
afternoon,
those kind of things.
not at dark. I advise people not to walk in the dark, especially in
Oh
Memphis.
yeah, yeah.
In the
Be
afternoon.
careful out there in Memphis.
Thank you.
But
Mississippi too,
yeah,
because we stay in
be careful.
Mississippi
Be
too.
careful.
Yeah,
But yeah, flowers, cards, they go a long way.
right.
Cooking dinner, doing chores around the house,
Hmm.
little things that help the family. Um, yeah.
It's just work. Like you just said, work. You can't be consistent. You can't just what you did to get the woman, your significant other, man or woman, you
Mhm.
have to continue to do that even in marriage. I think a lot of people when they get married, it's like, oh, I can just stop what I did to
Oh
pursue
no,
that person.
no.
I'm good. I'm neutral. Not pull their weight at the house, not even give flowers, because I need to work on that. I used to give my now wife, I used to give her flowers, but I kind of stopped, but I only do it like on important days like her birthday or Valentine's Day or stuff like that. But randomly is
Right.
what I
I was
used to
about to
do.
say
Yeah, randomly.
random acts of kindness.
Yeah.
Knowing each other's love language. It could be as simple as reading a book together. Let's say
Right.
you and your wife are reading the same book together, or watching your favorite reality show or sitcom or whatever
Hmm.
together.
Yeah.
Little things like that.
That that's sound advice. That's sound advice. Speaking of reality shows, you mentioned, watching it with your partner and all. The
Yeah.
reality show of the MSCS school board.
Yeah.
This is like the greatest thing on television. Like, and I work and I'm about, like right there. So yeah, for those who don't know what's going on, the MSCS had their school board meeting Tuesday, and they determined to
Yeah.
fire Dr. Feagins and bring in interim Roderick Richmond. He's the
Hmm.
interim superintendent for now. What are your thoughts about this entire thing, Mike? This complete mess.
It's really sad. It's embarrassing. It's just not a good look. But I try to. Everything happens for a reason. So there has to be some good that comes out of this. I think some the good that can come out of this is, you know, as sad and embarrassing as this is, uh, the actions taken by the board, it puts the spotlight on the board
Hmm.
and it puts their positions in jeopardy, and that they could be out of office sooner than you think,
Hmm.
and a new board and new leadership could form within that time. So I think that can be a positive way to look at it. But I think the whole situation is just 9 months on the job. The allegations. Whether they're true or not true, they really aren't fireable, in my opinion. And so it's really sad and disappointing. The losers here are the children.
Yes,
Um, you know, it's tough.
it's
But
tough.
I think Fagans, um, I think Fagans has handled it well. I mean, the board, that building has to be so toxic. Toxic. I don't know how they're all able to sit together in that one setting and just all get along. So
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
believe Fagans has shown a lot of grace and how she's handled the situation. She said she's going to take him to court, and so
she has a case. She got a
you
case.
know
Like,
I think she has a good chance of coming out on top when it comes to that. And I think the people are fed up, and I think we'll have a new board.
yeah. I mean, and it's so obvious. Like, it was probably 98% of people wanted to keep Vegas. Like, I never heard not
Yeah,
one bad thing said about we need to let Dr. Fingers go. I think the only people that don't want Dr. Fingers on the school board is some of the board members. And we
yeah,
kind of, by now, we kind of know their names
yeah.
who are not with Dr. Fingers. But the
She's
losers are
has
definitely,
tremendous support. Tremendous support. I mean,
yes,
she had a walkout by the students. She
yes.
had that some of the parents organized and they did a walk in her honor.
Hmm.
I believe this past weekend.
Yes.
She's had support from community leaders um, and everything. She's been involved. I mean, she visits the schools. Um, my
Hmm.
wife, she works at one of the elementary schools that she visited,
Hmm.
and everything. She's doing her job. So um,
Just
if you didn't like her, you know, when you hire, during the hiring process, then that's on you.
right.
Personal. That's just sound like a personal problem to me.
Right. You feel like the board and the parents, their relationship, can it be fixed, or is it just broken to the point of no fixing?
I think right now it's definitely broken. I
Hmm.
think it's broken within the board itself. I mean, they can't work together.
Hmm.
Um, there really is no relationship whatsoever with the board and the parents. I think they're that fed up that they're talking about a massive overhaul, probably with the exception of the people that voted to keep Fagans in office, or that she keep her job. But there's just a lack of trust, and there's just a lot of disappointment all around. Our children are our future, and they just seem to be they are the biggest losers in this. And but you know I want to give credit to our teachers and our principals and our administrators, those that work directly with the students, and they're doing their best to serve the students and teach the students. And the parents, they're doing everything they can to get them to school despite the challenges at home and the
Hmm.
conflicts at home that we, talked about earlier. Um, Credit to them for doing their part to trying to get the children educated. Have We definitely need a board that is a children first agenda, that has a children first agenda. And maybe we need to evaluate whether we need a superintendent. I don't consider myself an expert in what the board, how to become a board member, or what the roles and responsibilities of a superintendent. But
Yeah.
maybe we need to reevaluate whether we need um, a superintendent, uh,
Hmm.
and maybe the board should take ownership of each district and be the quote unquote superintendent
Yeah.
of their district,
Yeah.
and lead and show results of what their ideas are. Have them, raise money, whatever it is, for the
Hmm.
betterment of the children. You know, because the children have to come first. We have to educate them.
All right, Mike. With that being said, the Final Four, we're here.
This,
First game, Washington, Philly. I think you've already
mm,
proclaimed that you're going with Washington. Am I
mm,
right? You think Washington wins this game in
yeah.
Philly?
Can they do it again in Philly? I think they can. I mean, they went 1-1. They split the series during the regular season.
Mhm.
Can Washington do it again? Can they beat Philly? I think they can. It's going to be tough because stopping Saquon is going to be really difficult. But I don't think Hurts needs to have a 300-yard game or a great passing game. I still not confident in Hurts to win the game throwing the football.
Mhm.
I don't think Hurts will make a mistake. He'll manage the game. I don't think he'll make a mistake as far as like turnover wise, but um I think if it comes down to where he has to make plays with his arm for Philly to win the game, that's the only question I have. And um I think the Commanders, if they're able to move up and down the field and with their offense, running the ball with Eckler, with McLaurin and the wide receivers
Zach
that they
Ertz.
have,
Zach Ertz.
and yeah,
Boy.
and Ertz, and just Jaden Daniels' ability to run the ball, manage the ball, and accurately throw it, they can make things interesting in Philly. And so, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Commanders
Okay.
going to the Super Bowl.
I mean, I think that's America's favorite pick. I think they're riding with Washington. They want to see the Cinderella story continue. I'm here to say that the story
Mm.
ends Sunday afternoon. I think they're just going to smother them. I mean, I think it's going to be more like the first game they played Thursday Night Football in Philadelphia, where it was like 12-9, and then they kind of picked it up in the second half. But they got to to me, make Jalen Daniels stay in the pocket. You got to neutralize him because he wants to stay in the pocket and throw, contrary to what a lot of people think. Like he doesn't want to run around and make plays and all that. I think they got to rush him quicker. Like bring a blitz in, blitz him out.
Mm.
Like get him uncomfortable because he wants to be in that pocket and be a pocket passer. What people don't know, like he can be dual threat, he can be Lamar and Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. He can be that, but he wants to stay in the pocket and make a throw to Terry McLaurin, which I think let's just rush. Let's just bring some pressure. And I think Jalen Carter and our defensive line, Williams, Josh Sweat, they're going to it's going to be a problem. I don't trust Washington's offensive line. I think it's really shaky at best. Like, and if it's really shaky, you can attack them. All the defensive players we got, we can attack them. Brian Robertson, the last time they played, had two fumbles. in the game,
Mm,
and I think they probably benched him. I want to say they put Eckler in. I think,
and,
but yeah, I think Philly wins this game, and I think Saquon has an efficient game. I think he has like 100 some yards, but I think if there's any time for Jalen Hurts to make an impact and to say I'm gonna get at least 200 some yards, I'm gonna get AJ Brown rolling, I'm gonna get Dallas Goddard going, I'm gonna throw. I'm going to throw because I don't think Washington's safeties, in particular their corners, outside of Marshawn Lattimore, are very good corners. So you're going to have Jalen's going to have to make throws today, that game. Make throws because they're keying in on Saquon. They're keying in. Like Bobby Wagner is a great player, defensive player. The guy I just mentioned, the Washington linebacker, he's great. Just watch out for his hits and all that. But I think this is the game that Jalen Hurts explodes, and I think Philly wins the game comfortably. And I think they go to the Super Bowl. And I think Washington has a great year and all, but the story ends Sunday. I think, I mean, it has to. It's got to end Sunday. I get it. He's the guy. He's the man. He's the rookie of the year. I get it. It's coming to an end. Little brother got to sit down.
I'm gonna
Like,
ride with him.
little brother got to sit down.
I'm gonna ride with him.
We'll
It's gonna
see.
be fun though. It's gonna be fun. I think either way,
Well,
even if Philly or the Commanders are in the Super Bowl, it's gonna be a good. The both of them are really good teams.
they are. They are. And the nightcap, the Buffalo
Mm,
Bills and Kansas City Chiefs. Another interesting game for the AFC Championship game. Who do you got, Mike?
man, it's a tough one. I mean, Josh Allen is pretty much on Mahomes during the regular season, but during the postseason, it's been Mahomes' field day. Uh, it could easily this game could easily come down to who has the ball last. Who has the ball last? Who manages the clock? This is going to be a Andy Reid. This is going to be a Andy Reid type of game. Coach McDermott, I believe is his name. Coach
Coach McDermott.
McDermott and Andy Reid game.
Yep.
Who has the ball last? And how can you pick against the Chiefs? It's hard, man. They keep
Yeah.
winning.
Keep
They
winning.
keep winning, and I know people don't like it, but I think the tea leaves kind of say, the Chiefs are going for a three-peat,
Mm-hmm.
and regardless if you like it or not, it's just gonna fall the Chiefs' way.
The referee and all that fish shit. Yeah.
There's gonna be there's both quarterbacks run the ball, or they're capable of running the ball and making a play, in critical moments.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this it's important for um, Josh Allen to win this game, to get over the hump. But I think ultimately, I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. I think it'll be evenly matched. I don't think I don't think they'll turn the ball over that much. I don't think there would be too many turnovers in this game, unless there's a like fumble or so by the run. I don't expect the quarterbacks to make
No.
the one to make the mistake of turning the ball over.
Yeah.
But the Chiefs are at home. Um, Chiefs, Commanders in the Super Bowl. That's my pick.
Well, I hate. I want to agree with you so bad. Chiefs. It's like the aura of playoff NFL playoffs. It's like the Chiefs. It's like they're there, Arrowhead. Taylor Swift's gonna be there. It's gonna be. I mean, it's just
Caitlin
one of those
Clark.
things. Like it's just there. Like that the Chiefs are gonna want to go out and win. They probably should win. I think that this rivalry is like the Tom Brady and Peyton Manning rivalry. It's like
Hmm.
Tom Brady always dominated against Peyton Manning. Always. Even in the playoffs, he did. Until 2007, when Peyton Manning said, enough is enough. I gotta get over this guy at some point. And they did. And they found a way to, and he got over the dry hump and I think the Buffalo Bills, they beat them this year, kind of found a little formula. If you go back and saw Josh Allen's game, he had, I think, 2 touchdowns. I think James Cook had an amazing game, had like 100 some yards rushing. It was a great formula. They can repeat that same formula again. And I honestly do believe that Josh Allen is sick and tired of losing this guy in the playoffs. I think the 13 seconds, 13, you mentioned 13 seconds to Josh Allen, he just freaks out. Like, oh my,
Yeah.
like there's a ghost behind him or something. Like, because they had that game 3 years ago, 13
But that's
seconds.
every quarterback going up against the Chiefs.
But 13 seconds, Mike. Think about 13 seconds with
Yeah, that
them
was a
going to the
classic
AFC
epic
Championship game.
game.
Like, it haunts him.
Unbelievable game.
Unbelievable game. It haunts him every single time he thinks about that. And so, with that being said, I think the Bills win the game, and I think they just get over the hump. And I think for the sanity of America, the Chiefs are out. Like, I mean, I think I speak on everybody on behalf of America that says we do not want the Chiefs to three-peat.
Yeah,
We just don't.
yeah.
Like,
They
we
just
just
don't want the Chiefs to win.
they don't want the
And
Chiefs to win.
I mean, if the Chiefs are in there or if the Bills are in there, I could really care less either
Hmm.
one because I like Josh Allen. Josh Allen was my quarterback for fantasy football. Won me a lot of games.
Did you win a
Last play.
championship? Did you win a championship?
No, I did not.
Oh, well.
Uh,
The guy I
no,
had,
did
the
not.
champion in our league, he had Josh Allen and Saquon. Enough said.
Oh man.
Enough said.
Hey, I had what was it? I was in two leagues, and I think in one league I had the first overall pick, and then in the second league I had the 10th overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
So I think my first pick was I had the first pick, I had Christian McCaffrey. We all know how that went. That was just horrible. That
I
went
blame
down.
Shanahan. I blame Shanahan because he never gave us nothing about the injury. Nothing. Like
That
they
went
just.
downhill. That
Hmm.
that that whole that my league and my team. I had some close ones. My quarterback though was Jaden Daniels.
Mine's too.
My
That was
quarterback was Jaden Daniels, and
mine's
he
too.
was number one. And he was my number one quarterback
Hmm.
in that league. The
Hmm.
second one I had, other league I had the 10th pick, and I think at that time AJ Brown was the best available. So I picked AJ Brown, wide receiver,
Hmm.
and then second pick come around. I got Saquon Barkley in my queue, and somebody snatches him up. I said, man. So then I said, you know what? I'm going to go quarterback. Got him Josh Allen.
Yeah. Good pick.
Took me to the championship. You know, at pretty good so far. Uh,
Hmm.
pretty decent. But yeah. I mean, Josh Allen, Mahomes. It doesn't get any better.
It doesn't. It doesn't. But I got the Bills win. I got Bills Eagles Super Bowl. I think
Yeah,
that'd be
and
fun.
I got Chiefs and Commanders Super Bowl.
The Commanders. Let's go. Let
I
us
think
go.
that's gonna be. I think the Chiefs and Commanders. I think that's just historically NFL wise a legendary matchup.
It is. It's a legendary matchup.
I
The
mean,
history of
if I
it.
guess you look at like the Redskins versus the Chiefs, it's just we're talking about the up and coming rookie
Hmm.
first year
Right.
Jaden Daniels
It's a more sexy.
versus
It's a more sexy
Mahomes.
matchup. It's a more sexy
You
matchup.
know,
Yeah. Bills Eagles. They're like, maybe it could be good. Like,
and
or
two, I think for that for the Bills and the Chiefs, I think Spagnolia and the way that they got that defense going in Kansas City, their defense and their special teams, because their special teams is blocking field goals and everything over there.
mm-hmm.
That could play a huge factor. I mean, they had what 8 sacks the
Yes.
Chiefs
Yes.
did against Stroud, and I mean, Houston was moving the ball seemingly pretty well, but when it came down to the red zone and time to score,
Field
You
goal.
know, Houston was missing field goal. They were missing field goals
Hmm.
and missing extra points.
Hmm.
And you know, they couldn't
Can't get a
score.
touchdown, and you needed a touchdown. Give me a
Yeah,
touchdown or two.
yeah,
Put some
yeah.
pressure on. Like, it'll
It's
be
gonna be
interesting.
fun.
It's gonna be fun. If it's a Chief Eagles rematch, I'm with that too. We need a rematch. Us Eagles fans, we need a rematch against Mahomes a couple years ago. How they just snatched that away from us. But I'll be fine either way. Chiefs Eagles or Bills Eagles, I'm fine with that. So you guys, that will be interesting. Conference Championship Sunday. Can't wait. Of course, we're gonna recap it all next week. All what happens, and it's gonna be really really fun. Again, want to thank my boy Mike for coming on. Great episode. Great, great episode. I couldn't say it better myself. Just wonderful knowledge. He will be with us
Oh
again
yeah.
next week, you guys. So stay tuned
Yep.
for that.
Yep.
That will conclude this wonderful episode. Once again, you guys, please subscribe on our YouTube channel at Throw It Down. Big fella, follow on Instagram.
Subscribe, like, and share.
There you go. All three of the above. Thank you so much, you guys. We will see you guys next time. Until then, peace out.
Peace out.
Throw it down, big man.